Hello everyone, my name is Gabby and today I want to talk to you guys about number synchronicities. Are you guys experiencing like a bunch of numbers that show up in your life at a specific time? You just happen to look over at the clock and you see a block of numbers, or you're looking at a license plate and you see the same numbers on that license plate, or you hear somebody say these numbers in a commercial on TV? Well, you know, these things have occurred for me, and it started for me in my life. And I noticed this in about 2003. I think it was about 2003. So the first time I seen a number synchronicity, well, I didn't know at the time it was the number synchronicity, but the first time that I seen a number on a clock, or just in general, other than 1111, I remember being as a child, growing up as a child or a teenager and seeing 1111 and in school you're with your friends and you're like, oh look, it's 1111, make a wish. Okay, so that's like really the first time of seeing numbers that are combined together and recognizing them being combined as being a special number, and that, back in the day it was to make a wish. But as I got older, in about 2003, I was in my 20s, and I seen a number that really captured my attention. And the number was 9/11. So at this time, to give you a little information, at this time I was going through something devastating. It was a devastating change at that time of my life. Okay? And so the number 9, now again, I did not know this back then, but today, now, as as I got into numerology, I know what these things mean, and I'm going to explain it to you because I'm doing the video. So the number 9 means completion, okay? And the number 11 is a master number. For those of you that are familiar with numerology, you know that you do not reduce master numbers. Master numbers are numbers like 11, 22, and 33. So you don't reduce those. So 9 would be the single digit number in this scenario of seeing 9/11. Like, how I just mentioned a few seconds ago, 2003 is when I started to notice this change in my life, and I had reduced it. 2003, 2 plus 3 equals 5. That's what I'm trying to get at here. So I don't reduce 9/11 because you don't reduce master numbers. So 9 is the single digit number, meaning there was a completion. But at the time of my life, I didn't know this. So the number 11 means a couple of things. It means enlightenment, or it's indicating that the message is coming from a divine source. So I was receiving a message from my spirit team, from my divine team, from my guides. They were telling me this is a time for change. I have completed something. This aspect of my life, it was done. It was time for me to go with the flow of energy. And for the longest time, I fought it and fought it and fought it. That saying, go with the flow? Well, when things are kind of off in your life, you got to figure out a way to realign yourself so you can go with the flow of things, so you're not knocked off balance and you're not feeling depressed or sad or grumpy, and you're experiencing low vibrational feelings. So that saying, go with the flow, there's a message in that. It means to realign yourself. So back then, I did not know this, but energy was telling me to go with the flow, and I kept seeing the same number, 9/11, during this time in my life that I really was devastated. I'm not going to go into details of what I was devastated about, but at this time, or of that time in my life, it felt like devastation. Now that I look back to it, as some of you may have experienced things that have happened in your life, and now that you're older, you look back at things that were so upsetting to you back then. You kind of look back and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that upset me, or I can't believe I acted that way in that situation. So that's kind of like the scenario that I'm referring to when I say I was devastated at that time of my life. It's no longer devastating for me, and it shouldn't have ever been that devastating to me in the first place. So yeah, so looking back at the year that I started to see this number, it makes perfect sense. It really does. And I believe that that was the very, very beginning of my awakening. I started to see 11s everywhere. It was on the clock, just randomly, on the license plates of cars, on houses, on their addresses. Or I would see the number 11 in the grocery store. I would look up and realize that I was in the checkout lane number 11. And when I tried to tell people and explain to them that I'm seeing, like, hey, I'm seeing this number 11. It's like haunting me. It's everywhere. Like, noticeably, it's coming up in my life, and I see it everywhere. It's driving me crazy. It had me to that point. And I'm making this video today because there was a point in my life when synchronicities drove me crazy, because it was more than a coincidence. It was like, it was like, gosh, I'm looking for a word. It was more than coincidence. It was like something was trying to get my attention. Someone was trying to get my attention. I felt like it was divine. Like there was something more to it. It was like kind of paranormal. There was just like this strangeness to it. I mean, it was everywhere. It got to a point that I was so obsessed, I needed to find out what it meant. And back then, back in 2003, computer, for me, I wasn't really on computers. I think like the internet wasn't like a huge deal. Everybody was at that time just playing like solitaire on computers, or they were on like I think there was like a social media group called, oh, I think it was Mi Gente at that time. I'm not even sure. I think it was so long ago. I just know that in 2003, I didn't even own a computer. So with that being said, my point is I couldn't just get on YouTube and Google, what does the number 11 mean? Or what does 222 mean? Why am I seeing these numbers? If I wanted to know something like that, I literally had to go to a library, but I didn't, because I thought that was too strange to go into a library and try to find a book as to why I'm seeing numbers. So, you know, I just thought that maybe complaining to people and just randomly telling them that I'm seeing this number, that they would enlighten me. Eventually, along my path of spiritual growth, I have been enlightened. So I started to journal and write down every time I seen the number 11. I started to pay attention to my thoughts and what I was thinking and what I was doing at the time that I seen the number 11. And along my way, I ended up meeting spiritual teachers, and people were able to enlighten me and teach me and guide me through my spiritual journey. And so that kind of inspired me a little bit as to why I'm making this video today, because I'm noticing there are others that are starting to see these numbers, and they'll hit me up, they'll instant message me, or they'll call me, or they'll text me, and they'll say, hey Gabby, I'm starting to see 1111 or 211, or I'm starting to see 222, or I keep seeing 4140, you know, whatever their number synchronicity is, they keep seeing it, and they know that I had this thing with the number 11 for so many years. They knew that I was kind of familiar with how they were feeling at the beginning of them starting to see these number synchronicities. So they needed somebody to talk to, and I guess I was their girl. The most popular question that they ask me is, Gabby, what does it mean? Why am I seeing this? Well, the ancient Tibetan people believe that numbers carry messages because numbers are energy. The numbers 1 through 9 all have a generic meaning. So I recommend that you start documenting what numbers that you see and write down what you were thinking, what were you doing, how were you feeling at the moment that you've seen the number that keeps popping up a lot in your life, to see what you can add, to the general meaning of the numbers that you see. Because in a moment, I'm going to tell you what the general meaning is to each number 1 through 9. But just because I'm giving you the general meaning doesn't mean that it is the only meaning of that number that keeps popping up in your life. Okay? Your divine spiritual team will guide you. They will tell you what the number 1 means, or what the number 111 means. Not only does it mean enlightenment, but because you keep seeing it a lot when you are doing this certain thing at this certain time, it may also mean this certain thing for you. That's why it's important that you start documenting what you see and how you were feeling or doing or saying or thinking at the time that you seen that specific number that you are always seeing. Because numbers are unique to you. This will help you decode what your divine team is trying to tell you, what your divine team is trying to help you with, because it is they who are reaching out to you to grab your attention. Now, it could also be source or God, the universe or creation, your higher self, your angels, trying to help you along on this journey as you try to understand. Once they grab your attention and you see, for example, the number 911, like I did, you may pause for like a nanosecond and you may think to yourself like, whoa, like that is so odd that I am seeing that number at this moment and I feel like this. And that number 911, what is 911? Like, what do you do what is 911? 911, call 911, emergency. At that time in my life, I felt like I was going through like something. I needed help. It was like an emergency. I needed help. And I see 911 and for like I said, like a nanosecond, like I was feeling this way and I just happened to glance over at the clock and it was 911. It was like a connection, like my eyes and the clock, the numbers, we just connected for a minute. Like it was trying to tell me something, but I didn't get it at the moment. But I knew that it was weird, something. I knew that there was something. And I kind of thought to myself, like, whoa, 9/11, why am I seeing that number right now? That is so strange. That's odd. There was a connection there. And I admit, it was odd. And that was it. I seen the number, I connected with it for that moment, and it caught my attention. And that was it. Like, I didn't think anything of it after that. Only at that moment I thought about it. But after that, it was like nothing. I didn't think anything of it. It was like, that's it. And I moved on with life. So, your spirit team is over there like, okay, guys, guys, we got her attention. She noticed us. She noticed and she received the message. I didn't really receive the message, but I received the message, like SOS, I got it. They caught my attention. And then that's when they start to produce more and more for you to see. That's when I started to see more and more 11s. And the more I seen 11s, then I thought back to the day that I saw the 9/11, and I thought to myself, okay, something really strange is going on here, because ever since that day of 9/11, I am like seeing 11s everywhere. I'm seeing 11/11 on somebody's license plate. I'm seeing 9/11 p.m., 9/11 a.m. I'm seeing 11 on the house address. I'm seeing the number, just like random examples I'm trying to come up with, but it was just like 11 everywhere. Everything was 11. Somebody would be talking and then the number 11 would come out of their mouth, and it was just like, ugh, there's something, like, is the universe trying to talk to me? Like, somebody's trying to talk to me. It was just really strange. It was odd. So you have to understand that every number has its own vibrational signature. It's actually part of the fabric of the unified field of our reality of the matrix. And the more numbers that you see in a block, like 222, 555, 1111, etc., the more power of the meaning of that number increases. So you may have decided of your meaning for 333. So when you see 33, that's the meaning. But if you see 333, it's like it's being emphasized for you. The importance is greater, or it's really significant for you, right? That number, for you to see that number. Now, or maybe you see 3333. It's even more significant for you right now. It's really important for you, and Spirit's really trying to get your attention and really tell you, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the message, and it's really important because it's not just 1 3, it's 4 3. So it's very significant for you. Very important, okay? So the power of the meaning increases according to the amount of numbers that you see. Okay, so finally, before I get into these meanings of these numbers, if you see different combinations of these numbers, you can add the meanings together to get more of a little story or message of what the universe or your divine team or higher self is trying to say to you right now. So you might see 33, and then you might see 44 noticeably right after each other. Like, for instance, while I was making this video today, I had glanced up at the clock and I noticed that it was 12:12. Not as in the time, like, oh look, it's 12:12 p.m. No, of course not. For a nanosecond, me and the number we connected. I noticed it, and two numbers were together, and I was like, okay, 12 and 12. It wasn't like 12:45. It wasn't like 12:30. It was 12:12. I get it. It got my attention. It had me look. It was like, hey, Gabby, look at us. We're getting your attention. It's 12:12. Being that it was 12:12 and there was no master number involved, I had to reduce it because I have to get the single digit. That's what I do. I'm just like, I always reduce numbers. And if a number catches my attention, like for instance, the number 13, and we connect, I'm like, okay, there's no message in 13. I have to reduce that. 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4 is the message that my divine team is trying to give me. That's an example. So when I seen the clock and it was 12:12, I thought, okay, I got to reduce this. So 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 equals 6. And 6 is the number energy that my guides were passing along to me. And it's kind of ironic because I was working on this as I received the message. I was working on this video, and it was validating for what I was doing, for what I'm doing, because 6 is a very spiritual number. And I thought, wow, that is amazing. And I thanked my divine team. You know, it's kind of like they were with me, and they were like, you know, you're on the right path. And it's kind of like they were giving me a thumbs up, and it's kind of awesome. Okay, here are the meanings for you of the repetitive numbers in reality. I will start with single digit meanings, and then below it I will put the double meaning. Okay, because a lot of you guys will see certain numbers, but then some of you guys will also see like Some of you guys might just see like one number that catches your attention, and some of you guys might see like 222 or like 211 or like 33 or 333, stuff like that. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to give you guys the single digit meaning and the double and triple, if it has a triple. all the triple and quadruple numbers mean, or double digit numbers mean, is it's intensifying what the single digit number actually means. So I'm giving you guys the meaning, and it's the generic meaning. Again, you don't have to take my meaning of what numbers, what I think, not what I think, but this is actually the generic meaning of what the Tibetan people believe the number energy of that number carries. Okay, so you can add to that, again, what we talked about earlier when I mentioned journaling and keeping track of what you see and what emotion or what you were thinking or feeling at the time that you saw that number. You can add to it. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. Starting with the number 1. Number 1 is like new beginnings. It's the beginning of something. It means something new, the creation. So if you see like the number 1111, the number that most people see a lot of first, that's the first number that a lot of people usually see when they start seeing number synchronicities. That's because it means awakening. And when you start to see synchronicities, usually it is the 1111 because it's the beginning of something. It's the beginning of your awakening. This is a sign for you to pay attention. It's a sign that you are possibly a light worker. It can also often trigger people to have awakenings. 11 is a master number, meaning you don't reduce it. You don't reduce 1111. It doesn't equal number 2. 1111 is 11. That's it. It's a master number. Okay? It's also a gateway number. It's creation, God, source, your higher self, your divine spiritual team. When you see the number 1 or 1111 or 111, your intuition, your higher self, they're trying to communicate with you. Here, once you start seeing all the ones, you are at the beginning of a beautiful experience. Number 2, if you see 2, if you see the number 2, 2 usually means duality, free choice filled with decisions, free will, human free choice. So if you intensify it and you see like 222 or 2222, it represents partnerships and or relationships. It's a number of connection or connecting each other. It can also be a sign that you may have met your soulmate, or be soon to meet your soulmate, or even your twin flame. It can signify your guides are with you and watching over you, that everything is well, and to continue what you're doing. So that's what it means if you are constantly seeing 222 or 22, if that is the synchronicities that you see in your life at this time. Next, the number 3. The meaning of the number 3 is catalytic. It's a catalyst. Does not change. The energy moves other things without changing itself. Healers and teachers are usually surrounded by the number 3. They usually have a lot of 3s in their life. In the spiritual system, 3s exist. For example, God is split into 3 parts. That is a catalytic number: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Healers have 3s around them because they don't change. A healer is he who exists. That does not change, but changes everyone who passes through their life. A catalyst is something that does not change, but all that exists around changes. So if you see 333 or if you see 3333, this could mean life is going well, but check your spiritual path. Many people are awakening at the 33, and Jesus died at 33. It's a number of enlightenment to keep learning and balancing. And your team is telling you you're doing well on your spiritual path. Keep going. Next. So if you're seeing the number 4, the meaning of 4 is an earth number, community, Gaia. It's a grounded number. Lots of farmers are actually surrounded by 4s. Even social things like, for those of you that are familiar with the 4-H club, they're surrounded by 4s. The 4-H club is for people that are, it's like a social group for people with animals. 4s and ranchers, that's because they are all surrounded by animals. So if you're seeing like 444, 4 is an affirmation that you are protected by your guides and angels. And many believe that animals are angels and guides. So if you're seeing 444, your angels and guides are always with you. They're around you. And you have everything you need, and you are well supported. 444 is a number of stability, protection, and comfort. 5 is change, raw change. When you see a 5 around, it means the energy of the situation or place or year is changed or changing. So if you're seeing 555 or 5555, it means change is coming or happening for you. You're growing in wisdom too. It can also signify profound changes are on the way or happening now. The more 5s you see, the more impactful the change might be for you. Moving on to number 6. If you're seeing 6s, a 6 is our spiritual numbers. It's a high one. It truly, honestly means harmony. So the number 6 means harmony. Now, here come the triple digits. Don't be alarmed. That 666, that stuff is so cliche. It's from the movies. It's so Hollywood. It does not mean demons or evil is upon you. No. It doesn't mean that. It's been hijacked by the secret societies and religions, and it's seen as a very negative number. So if you see 666 or 6666, please, just don't put that negative energy into it and don't worry so much. Like I said in the beginning of the video, numbers have their own energy, okay? And they all have a generic meaning, but you may change them and recognize them differently depending on how you document them as you journal. And 666 may just be a heads up for you or a warning for you to find harmony in your life, or to find harmony and balance in your life, and to be more aware of your thoughts. So don't get pulled in and dragged too far in the worldly, dense, dualistic illusion, okay, of the 666. If you do see the number 666 and you don't like the context of it or surroundings, just say this: this is not my reality, and mentally shift, okay? Remember your true nature as a divine being. It's not an evil number. So remember this: 666, harmony, 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 balance, love. Just think of it. Don't put so much low vibrational energy into that number. When you see that number, embrace it and love it and acknowledge it and thank your guides for sending it to you. That's a good thing. Moving on to the number 7. 7 is spirituality, a spiritual overtone. It's a good number. It's a great number. It's a good number for altars or even an organization or for activities. 777 means you're in tune with the universe. So if you get a 777, you better go play the lottery. So you're in tune with the universe. You may be figuring out your purpose or have already found it. Angelic beings are watching over you. It's also a very, very lucky number. As I just said, you should go play the lottery if, in fact, you have a lot of those 7s in your life. Then you're a very lucky person. It's a very magical number too. You could be shifting into something exciting. People often experience cycles of 7 years. So for instance, 7 years of experience before things change. And that's usually how life goes. It's in 7s, like the 7-year itch. And, you know, they say your taste buds change every 7 years. You change physically every 7 years. Just know that if you have a lot of 7s in your life, you have good luck when you see this number. So if you see this number, much love to you and much luck. Moving on to the number 8. 8 means infinity. Also, it means manifestation and abundance. Now, when I say manifestation, I don't mean just manifesting money, because when you mention manifesting, I think the first thing that comes to somebody's mind is to manifest money, but it's not just about manifesting money. It could be to manifest abundance of good health, manifest money. You could manifest a long life, a powerful immune system. You could be abundant with good chemistry in your body to keep you healthy from disease. If you see 888, it's progress. You're progressing. It's a bit of a time portal. It resembles the infinity symbol. It means you're coming into your power and you're getting good at manifesting, or at least you will be, which is a good thing. It's a sign of abundance, increased as you see the more 8s. So the more 8s that you see, the better. Last but not least, the number 9. 9 means completion, the end of something, graduation. You have finished. It's the end of something, the end of a paradigm, the end of sorrow, the end of a certain way of thinking. And in society, it could be the end of an old way, the end of a project. So if you're seeing 999, it's the ending of one cycle getting ready to go into the beginning of a new cycle, moving into a new cycle for you, either now or sometime in the very near future. So if you see a lot of 9s in your life, get ready, because you're going into this new beginning. I mean, you've just graduated from whatever is going on in your life. It's the end of that. And that could be a good thing, even though it feels like a bad thing. Like when I seen the 9/11 in 2003, I thought it was the end of the world for me, but it wasn't. It was the end of that portion of my life. And now I see a lot of 8s. And it's like the beginning of this new life that I'm in, and I'm in a way better place in my life today than I was in 2003. And I want to thank my guides, my higher self, and the universe, my God, my source, the creator. I'm grateful. Listen to your intuition. It will never steer you wrong. Listen to your spirit guides and your divine team, your divine spiritual team. They will provide those synchronous numbers, giving you messages throughout your daily life, providing comfort and inspiration for you. But once you start seeing them, you'll know it's not made up. That's because you'll see them so often. They'll be right there, smack dab in your face. You're seeing through the code of the matrix. You're ascending. You're waking up. Congratulations. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video today. Please leave me a message and please leave comments down below to let us know, what kind of repetitive numbers that you've been seeing lately. And, let us know what those numbers mean to you, or did you relate to the numbers, the number meanings that I mentioned in this video? Please comment so other people know that they're not alone, that there's other people out there that understand them and get it. They're not crazy. You're not crazy. Much love and light, guys. Mwah! Gabby.